Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for coming on and watching something else. I appreciate some of the little comments that are being left here and there, encouraging. It's really nice, and the likes. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Um, Today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about saving money and having an emergency fund because they kind of go hand in hand. Okay. So the whole saving money part is you being able to hold off on buying certain things um, that are more of a want instead of a need. For example, you know that you need food to survive, so that's obviously a need. But you also can consider food as a want because either you buy a chicken breast or you buy New York strip, right? Obviously, New York strip is more expensive. So this time you're just going to give a little bit of sacrifice there and go for the chicken breast because that way you're going to be able to save some money instead of buying the New York strip. But the whole point is for you to save some money in order to be able to fulfill some of the uh, wants that you desire later on. Okay. So saving money is important. Saving money is going to help you in your future. Um, and it's not just a matter of just saving money and putting it away. It's also a matter of trying to save money in order to use it later on for investment purposes. And that's something that we'll get into later on. Um, and the whole emergency fund thing. Right now, I'm in a situation where I need to dip into my emergency fund. Why? Because I got laid off. I don't have a job. My job was eliminated, so I need to have a set amount of money so that I could survive for the next few months or the next year. It's important that you have this and you have a certain amount of money so that you can be comfortable in case something like this happens, of what happened to me. You're not scrambling. You're not scrambling trying to figure out what you're going to do with your life. You're not scrambling, biting your nails, having to go drive an Uber, drive your car around and get on the Uber platform or something like that, or Lyft or whatever it is, and you're kind of, I wouldn't say wasting time, but if that's not something that you've done before, you're not using your time in a wiser manner, right? Because instead of having to go out there and do Uber, you could be trying to develop your comeback to the workforce. I have to apply to jobs. You could do both at the same time, but you're just going to have a little bit more, it's going to be a bit easier, right? For you to get to do a little bit more thinking and soul searching as opposed to having to turn around and hustle and try to find your way like immediately. So, but let's talk about when it comes to saving money. Saving money is, and I'll give you a prime example of this, and a really good one, is that you learn how to cook at your home so that you don't have to go out and buy food all the time. Going out to buy food from a restaurant is very pricey, especially nowadays. You have, when you go to a restaurant and sit down to get a plate of food, on top of the food price and the tax that you're paying, you're also paying like an 18, 20, 22%, depending on the restaurant that you go to. I treat a restaurant visit as a bit of a luxury and a treat. Because let's say I've been cooking all week and on Saturday I don't want to cook. So I'm going to go out and eat and have dinner somewhere. I want to be served this time around. And usually when I go out to eat at a restaurant, I try to get food that I myself can't cook that easy. So that's something that I would focus on doing. Back then, when I was doing budgets for myself and I started, I had my credit card that came up and it gave me all the spend that I did on restaurants. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I was spending like $700 a month on restaurants. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. You could get $500 and buy a good amount of food. I mean, now probably won't last you that long, but you guys get the idea. $500 back then, and we're talking about when I started doing budgets and all that stuff for myself. We're talking about maybe 15 years ago that I started doing that, and it just came to a point where it was like, I'm just spending way too much on restaurants. I need to hold back because all my money is going to the rent, um, utility bills, all this other jazz, and then restaurants was like one of the top. And it just didn't make sense. I said, I'm cutting that out. I'm going to learn how to cook. Learning how to cook is healthier for you, and you'll feel good about yourself because you're actually doing something that you know. And having learned how to cook back then also gave me the ability to cook for the family later on. So, when I have two kids and my wife, we're four of us, and going out to eat, a family of four, that's a hefty bill. It's not cheap. So it helps in many ways. Also, that money that you're saving on the restaurant, you put it aside, and little by little, you start creating a nest egg, right? In the bank. That money is going to be used for you to be able to save up to 6 months of your expenses. That's why a budget is necessary to come up with how much is it that you need to live on a monthly basis after you cut out all the unnecessary stuff, right? You want to keep a Netflix subscription? Okay, fine. Keep a subscription. You want to keep the ChatGPT because it helps you out with work or with everyday things that you're just doing? That's fine. Go ahead and keep those. But how about, I also have Disney subscription, and I have the cable network that I pay, and all this other jazz, right? You have to see what you can shave off. And that's why it's important to start doing a budget, because a budget's going to make you see and make you understand where it is that you can cut. So anyway, saving money is super important, okay? And the money saving part will then allow you to put money aside so that you can use this for a rainy day, okay? These emergency funds can be used to, what if your tire gets punctured and you have to buy a new one? You have an emergency fund. You're not going crazy thinking, oh my God, my credit card is up to the max and I cannot get a new tire. You're gonna have peace of mind. And that's something that I learned with saving and with budgeting. So your emergency fund is something extremely useful, extremely helpful. You're not going to have that money to touch for anything other than emergencies, okay? The emergency is, I lost my job, the water heater broke, the AC repairman has to come in, etc., right? It's not going to be for you to play with that money. Now, when you reach a certain goal, let's say that your goal is, I want to have 6 months in my emergency fund, 6 months of me being able to live comfortably where I'm not going to be nervous about not having an income or about having to go through a layoff. Once you reach that, then you can start thinking about, oh, I'm going to start investing this money. And the investment part is going to be the funner part. But right now, for now, start out small. Start out with putting money aside as your emergency fund. Some people are saying that the emergency fund should be 6 months. Other people are now saying that it should be 1 year. And I can see why they're saying 1 year, because the job market is pretty tough right now. It took me 1 year to get the last job that I was in. It took me 1 year. And I'll be very honest with you. I wasn't really pushing to send my resume out to everywhere that I saw a job. I thought it was going to be a waste of time. I was being selective. And it just so happened that I got into this one. But the point of this is that you have to do things step by step and also be patient. This whole thing, this whole process is patience. And if you're young, that means that you have time on your hands. And if you have time, you're in a prime position to do this. So do yourself the favor, start setting that money aside to create that emergency fund. And once that emergency fund is done, then we can go on to the next step, which is the investing part, which is going to be a much funner part than just putting money to the side. And that's the end of this video. And I'll see you on the next video, where I talk about a little about investing and what I've done and how I started with investing and where it led me to. And I'm not like this finance guru or anything. I'm just giving you my experience, and I'm simply telling you what you can follow because it helped me. And I'm not telling you at all that you have to follow these things. It's just a suggestion. And I'm sure there are other videos out there that probably say other things or the same thing. But I'm just a guy that had the experience with this, and I could definitely tell you that it was worth it. So I'll see you on the next channel. But if you want to see stuff regarding budgeting, I'm going to put a video so that you can link to, and then it'll explain how budgeting works and how you can do it. It's one of the most boring things that you could discuss, but it's something that is definitely worth your time as well, because it's very important that you learn how to discipline with your budget. Have a great one. Thanks.